The Technology Subcommittee meeting. Madam Secretary, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Agia?
Here.
Mr. Bailey?
Here.
Ms. Larrabee?
Here.
Can we please rise for a pledge of allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and as deemed acknowledged and permissible. We don't believe we have any citizen input, correct?
No, we do not.
So I'm going to ask that we take out of order the executive session, which is item number 5. Is there a need for an executive session?
Yes, there is.
Okay, we're going to go into executive session to discuss the deployment of security personnel or devices or strategies with respect thereto, which is Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A4. We will reconvene in a few minutes once the executive session is over. Motion to go into executive session made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so voted. We'll be going into executive session. Okay, we're going to call the meeting back to order. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Agia?
Here.
Mr. Bailey?
Here.
Ms. Larrabee?
Here.
Okay, we're going to proceed with the 3.01, discussion and vote to refer communication specialist job description.
Okay, before you, you have a new position that we'd like to bring. 2022 and up until this point, all facets of foreverschools.org, Facebook, Twitter, have been being done by a myriad of different people, right? Right down to press releases, the whole 9 yards. We're looking to bring in a position that would encompass all those pieces to be the liaison from central office so that everything is funneled out to media by one person. So Maria's office would say, we have a press release, they would be the person responsible for that piece. They'd be the liaison with Fred TV so that we can start to utilize Fred TV to market the district more. We're not marketing ourselves like we could be. And then the last piece of this would be to oversee, and it'll go into another 3.3, oversee foreverschools.org. Right now we have members of the instructional technology team, myself, some different secretaries out there working on this. There is some stale information on the website. But we're at the point now where COVID has showed us that this is kind of the backbone of the district. People use this to get into Google Apps, to Power School. There are district resources on there. We need somebody to be able to take the technology piece, the integration piece, the teaching and learning piece, the marketing, the HR piece, bring it all under one umbrella so we have one go-to person to move forward and to get our information out there in a more timely and effective manner. So it's a very basic job description. It's in front of you. I was involved in media for a long time, Channel 12, Channel 7, so a lot of this has some pieces of that. It also has some pieces of the marketing, as you can see, Parent Square, District Calendar. There's a lot of collaboration with this position. So this position would be housed out of the Technology Services Suite. However, they would be the one that would ribbon cutting for the new Vills Lab at Talbot Middle School. They would coordinate internally for us, and then we would have the event. They would coordinate to get resources from Fred TV, FRG TV. We'd have that one person that we can rely on and start to move ourselves and market ourselves in a more positive, creative manner.
Any questions?
No, not right now.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Made, seconded. Roll call.
Mr. Agia?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Larrabee?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. 3.02 is any updates from the technology department on prior meetings and the requests. So I have a few items, but if you have anything based on your own research,
Sure.
feel free to.
So we talked about Chromebook numbers, and we were curious about Chromebook numbers. So I have some information for you. So since July, we've retired 1,519 devices. Those 1,519 devices were boxed up and sent to AGI Repair. And what they do is they give us funding based off of condition of old devices and or parts. So they have initially gone through about 750 of them, and that was able to purchase 1,800 USB Type-C chargers, no funds. So they sent us the chargers. We had a massive need for chargers this year. They sent them to us the next day. They're going through the next 750. Now, there's gonna be questions, I see this type of model. These are models that have been in the district for quite some time that were ready to be retired. So Google gives you a license, and at a point they say, no more, you can't update us. So these devices are going there. The next 750 or so devices we're gonna use to purchase screens, keyboards. A big piece is the sound, the earphone jack. So they send us those, no money changes hands, and then they send them to us and we repair in-house. We have also started to use some of that monies to send out the special education department iPads, because in the past, special education department personnel were putting it on their credit card because it was a quicker turnaround, because there are no vendors that work in the purchase order world. But this company, now with some of that slush fund money that I have, we're getting them back in 48 hours. So we're getting a device back into the hands of a child in 48 hours because of this. I anticipate probably another 800 devices are going to be going out in the next 6 weeks. And again, slush fund money to buy chargers, to buy parts, to do repairs. So that's on the retired devices. And then we were curious, Kevin had brought up the question about damage. So I can tell you that malicious damage has come down quite a bit. And since around July 1st, we're at about 30 devices, okay? There were about 11 at Cuss. There were about 3 or 4 at Stone. And then there were a handful at Durfee. And I'll go into that. But the majority of our repairs are not malicious. They're accidental. And they're also Chromebook screens just not lighting up anymore. They're LED devices. The more you use them, the more you open and close the device, there's going to be points of failure. So since July, our internal team has repaired 3,245 of our district devices, most of which the school does not even see downtime because they're given a spare when the device is picked up. This device gets power washed, it's called. It gets updated in the system, and then when we go to the next building for repairs, these devices are then kind of swapped through.
Right. So that was my question. How quick? Is it right away? The second the student brings in a laptop and
So
it's not working?
The only buildings that it's not as quick are the Vils buildings, because those are sent out to Samsung. However, spares on hand, they get a device that
Right
day.
away.
Right away. So we've cut down, we were a 7 to 9 days repair, but with new personnel, new systems in place, new procedures in place, we're at 3,245. And I'll share this information with the committee. You can see, so this Chromebook here, damaged ports damaged, case or housing cracked, and a lot of the times the kids are just closing them, and they're cell phones. They're cheap, bigger cell phones. So we're moving in the right direction there. And then this is our new Incident IQ dashboard. So you can see right now we have 241 tickets assigned across the district. This could be the gamut of cell phone, security, it could be anything. But I just wanted to show you that we kept talking about this software, but this is where we are. The end users are using it all the time. I can come in here, I can pull up what we have on hand for parts, inventory, the whole 9 yards. So we're getting to the point where I can give you more detailed information moving forward, because we're getting that information in. We're past opening and we're able to start finally catching up on this. But for me, I was floored that my team was able to fix just under 3,500 devices since July, so kids are not without them. And then the last piece that I wanted to show you is Durfee is doing it a little bit different. Biggest building, 2,500 Chromebooks. As of this morning, there were 90 devices ready for pickup, and 104 had been repaired in-house. So this actually goes one further, student name. So if we get a repeat offender, I don't want to really be doing classwork, I'm going to keep damaging my Chromebook. We do it by day at Durfee, and then you can also see it's broken down by grade. So right now, if you toggle over year 2026, there were 34 damaged Chromebooks, not malicious, like I said, there were about 7 to 9 there. So now we have numbers the whole time, and this is actually available to any staff member. When they click on it, they can go in and say, hey, I'm John, I'm a senior, I need a loaner. They do this, it goes right to the tech team, they're given at morning. So we're moving again in the right direction. This piece that Durfee is doing, Marcus Houtman has done an amazing job with it. I'm toying with the idea of using this exact system at the Ville schools, because it holds everyone accountable. the admin team at the buildings can see who the heavy hitters are, what the reasons were, and it also, if you see on the right-hand side, I know it's tough to see because it's small on the screen, it's gonna give you a date ready. So they bring it in one day and they're gonna say, oh, it's a screen, we're waiting on screens to arrive overnight, you'll have it on September 28th, and then my tech team there reach out to the student and the office, and they get their Chromebook right away. So we're finally starting to be able to put some systems in place. I believe, unless you have other information on data, oh, this was the last piece. This is a software that it actually kind of goes through the Mass Q1 that we have. We've been looking, and members of the committee have been asking for data based off all of the software pieces that we use, and they're out there. We are in the process of demoing this software, and there's a cost to run per year. It's about $2.83 a student. But moving forward, we're going to be able to tell you real time what applications are being used, what the usage is, what the return of the investment is, what the cost is, the licensing. So we're going to be able to go in here and put in Imagine Learning, Dreambox. It's going to calculate for us real time, and I apologize that I don't have any information in here, but they actually are doing something for us by giving this to us free for 6 months to trial. We're not going to have to worry about data anymore. When you want data based off of a certain platform, we can click on it and it will give you real-time data, students and staff. It will also go further to say it was used in school or home. So we can give, and this will be great for us as a teaching and learning piece as well, because Dreambox may not be hitting the thresholds that we want, and we may want to go to a different vendor. ANET may not be doing what it wants, but we'll have that data now at our fingertips. The other piece that's nice is it also looks at what you're using in that software suite, and say it's a math standards-based program. If you're not hitting those thresholds, it may recommend to you, you may want to look at this vendor. It's cheaper, your return on investment is more, but it will hit all those markers that you've identified when you set this piece up. So I'm hoping for the November meeting to have some real data in here so that we can just show you what it does. And moving forward, this is something that I am going to budget on the technology side, because it's just such an unbelievable tool.
So you started using it?
So this is our dashboard. All of our information is being imported as we speak.
Okay.
And we're doing a power school dump tomorrow afternoon of students and staff, and then the possibilities are endless here. I'll be able to show you some pretty impressive data in the November meeting.
Any questions?
No.
The only question I had was on the damage. So I know you said some things are accidental, but at some point they need to learn to take care of the equipment too. So a broken screen can be an accident, but you should have to pay for it, in my opinion.
So what we've done there is we've started to charge. We've collected just over $333 from the high school. We have a process in place. I'm a parent, so I kind of err on the side of the first time, let's look at it. If it looks like it was thrown against a wall, then we're going to charge you. But if the kid comes in and says, I was at Durfee last week, and he came in and he said, sir, I'm telling you the truth, it was in my bag, and look at the size of this book, it against the book and it's cracked. But we're tracking that, so we know that little Johnny came in with the screen, we put the reason, and if it happens again, the next time you're going to have to
Carry a book.
Exactly. And we've worked with a few families where they admitted that they destroyed the Chromebook and they owe us $250, and they said, listen, can we do 100 now, 100 and then 50? And they sign it, but the digital device policy has been being followed in the buildings.
That was my
It's
question.
been a big help.
It's
It's been a big
And we
help.
had a great return with the
The high
digital
school,
signature.
we sent it out via Parent Square, and it was so impressive because we got digital signatures, and we have almost 96% compliant with the digital device policy at the high school.
That's good.
It's awesome.
That's
It's
good.
awesome.
You know, we said that last meeting, that's actually really great.
Awesome.
It's great numbers.
Yeah, I think that's good. Thank you for the updates. Moving on to the next one is on the website. I know you mentioned some of it. The reason why I put it on was because, separate from hiring anyone, I find that there's way too many sections that are just not updated. And I think we need to streamline who's responsible. And I would think it's like the principal of a school should be responsible, whatever, like the units, whatever it is, departments. I find personally going through, not the website itself, like I think it's a good website, like the vendor or whoever, but there's things on there that are just woefully not up to date.
Well, in this position, my hope and intent would be to streamline and to kind of standardize the school pages so that we're getting out there's gonna be different information, but standardize the way that we present it on the website. So this position with Red TV and with Mr. Farias and instructional technology and the principals will be able to start streamlining that process.
Yes, I'm for the position, I get it, but
Mhm.
to me, we need tomorrow to be able to tell people. That needs to be updated in 3 days. By Monday, we better at least take some stuff down if it's not accurate. There's wrong names in there, there's people in the DESC, I was looking at some of the results. The principal's names on the reports are the wrong reports. Like, it just, if I'm outside of looking in, I'm saying they're not taking this serious, so our pages aren't as well as they did, the
We'll take a
special
look
ed we
at it.
had a problem. So I don't wanna belabor the point, just
Agreed.
my thing is,
Agreed.
let's not wait, let's just try to get it done.
Better off being underinformed and misinformed.
And with you talked in here about doing the media, and is there any stipends at all to anybody? I know in the past there were some stipends that the school committee never knew about, that the superintendent was paying the people to update the Twitter pages, to do this and that. Is that-
To my knowledge, we have no one, everybody that's doing any updates is on their salary. To my knowledge, if there is someone out there, I don't know about it. Right now, we have Mr. Farias, our instructional tech team. I've been jumping in to do some stuff, and then we have a list of people that were trained in the buildings, but other than that, to my knowledge.
And I would echo that, to update the site. No, actually, we've had Nikki and Christy that have been instrumental in helping us to add information. I have communicated that to principals that I agree, there's the staff name at minimum, all staff should be current.
Right.
That needs to be updated, that the clerks go in there also and do it, but we haven't, I mean, since I've been here, we haven't said we're gonna pay stipends for people to update the site.
Yeah, that's, it happened before, so I'm just curious on that. I think you addressed the Mass Q piece, like
Mhm.
some of the things you had. I just we send a lot of people to this big conference. That was like the result of one of those, good networking, try to get jobs. So that's the only reason why I put that on here, was to get some sort of acknowledgement of, we send people, but we actually got a deliverable on it. 305 Fred TV.
Do you want a Promethean boards, 304?
You guys skip that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my 304 says Mass Q. The Promethean boards, I asked this to be on because we spent, I don't know, $500,000-700,000, a lot of money on those. So all I was looking for this committee would be to get a report on, are they being used? People being told they need to use them. And I think with your other thing, it's probably gonna help to know who's doing what kind of software, but are we in and up to date?
So is there necessary training?
So
That
training is
comes with-
ongoing.
Okay.
Promethean is going to be coming in and doing training. In front of you on the screen, I can make it a little bit bigger. We have 3 buildings that have to be finished. There are 4 built boards at Henry Lord that have to be installed. I'm actually going to do that with our team tomorrow because the vendor's not able to do that piece. And then we have the 2 biggest lifts of Morton and Cuss. You can see 58 and 59 boards. Then I'll have about 27 boards in storage. My plan is to be thinking forward, right? So if a teacher says, hey, my Promethean board is not working, I want to be able to take 2 techs as soon as school gets out, swap the board out, and then Mr. Cabral has his board. As soon as he gets back in the morning, no delay on learning, and then Promethean's been great, they send us a replacement. So the other piece is,
So is that the number you're thinking about, 15 being stashed?
I have 27 right now as a stash.
So is that a good number? Are
So
you
that's-
going lower?
I'm
Are
going to
you-
actually probably go a little bit higher because what I did with the
Higher.
principals is I said, I want teaching and learning spaces first, and then we'll double back and do if there's a conference room, because during COVID, every school got a Promethean conference room.
Yeah.
So if there's a space that there's a need, we'll look at it, we'll use some of those spares, and I'll order more. The only place that we're not doing anything with Promethean right now is the Early Learning Center, because I can't drill into those walls. So they have LED, they have 55-inch LED screens on carts in every room there, and they're doing a mirroring off of their Chromebooks. So that's the Promethean numbers. And then just to show you, this is a software called Radix that I had purchased at the end of last year. What it allows me to do is go into every Promethean board in the district, real time, and I can see memory, storage, external storage. If there is a technical issue with that board and a teacher calls in, a technology person at the main office can say, do you mind if I jump into your board? Now, we can't get into a board unless a teacher okays it. So if a teacher's in the middle of a lesson, it'll pop up and say, Scott Cabral would like to assist you with your board. If they say yes, they can do it, we can fix it remotely. If not, we send a technician after. This allows us to keep the software updated. It allows us to keep the board secured because they're really a computer. And then it also gives us some nice data because I can manage, I can turn off, I can send a message in an emergency. So we can tie all these boards together in the district. If there was going to be an early release day because of snow, I could go in here and say, early release day, here are the times for the buildings, stay safe. We could put it on every board if we wanted to. Probably won't get there, but that's just an example of how powerful these tools are. Our relationship with Promethean has been phenomenal. I had a broken board and they've already sent a replacement. You don't get that from many vendors. So that's where we are with the Promethean boards. We are scheduling more and more training as we go. My team at the instructional technology side, we just installed a board in their office because if I want them to teach the piece, they need to know the piece. So they now have a tool at their fingertip to be able to work with the district, classrooms.
Now, did you say all the boards have to be updated through your office? The teachers can't do the update. They
The
can't
teacher could do the update.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
they could do the update if they wanted to,
Okay.
or we can do it remotely. It's a little quicker if the teacher does
Right.
it, but I've been doing them after hours. As a matter of fact, so this software, during the Patriots game yesterday, I updated Green School because they were behind on
Watching the
software,
game,
and I did it remotely. So this tool is just phenomenal for us.
yeah. Nice.
And it's important to note that Morton and Cuss, they're the last because they had the old school projectors in the ceiling.
And they were most
So
reliable at that
We have
point.
to take those down, and
That's going to be a
replace
big
them.
lift.
So that's why those are.
What we'll do there is we'll go in, we'll remove the interactive board, the whiteboard, we'll take it off the wall, we'll install the new Promethean board, and so that teachers can start to get to use them. The projectors will remain in the ceiling, and then my team will do 10 or 20 a night off hours, so that way we can just remove them from the ceiling. And then my plan is to put some of those in storage, because you never know. Just never
repurpose
know.
them.
Marketplace.
Well, if you have a presentation going,
Right.
you can hook up the projector and project.
Sounds good. The last item is Fred TV.
Okay, so on this piece here, I have a document that I will share with you that Renee Kochman, the director, myself, we put together. You can see all of the positions in Fred TV. The only problem is I can't, I'll zoom in and out for you.
Oh, right, yeah.
It goes by classes taught. So right now at the high school level, we have 2 instructors, 2 licensed instructors, and they have a full load. So they teach 3 of the blocks, other 4 blocks a day. When they're not doing that, they're assisting with other buildings doing Spencer Borden pieces, all of that. They've been instrumental on their side. As far as other teachers, we have a staff member at Morton who is not licensed, but he is there as the instructor for their ELT program. And we at one point had a position at CUS, but it's no longer there because ELT, they're not using that position, they're doing other pieces. So this is an all-encompassing piece of the actual positions. And then there were some questions by some of the school committee members about quality on the cable channels. So just to give you the 90-foot overview, when we send our video out, it goes from here down to Warren Street, from Warren Street out to the houses. That's all done via copper wiring. Renee and his team are actually working with the negotiation committee to try to get us on that digital spectrum. So when we send out digital video, it gets to them digitally. That's probably going to require, correct me if I'm wrong, they're going to have to run fiber from us to them so that it's crystal clear. That's why you notice such a big difference in Facebook on YouTube, because we're recording in high def, and our equipment, our foresight from within, is able to send it out at that quality. So on Facebook, it's crystal clear, audio is crystal clear. You go to channel 9 or channel 18, it sounds very tinny, it's very distorted. That's not our video, that's the length that we're sending it, and they, up until this point, haven't given us the digital side. If we get digital channels, then it's going to look just as clear there as it's going to look on Facebook. And Renee and his team are working on that right now through the negotiation process. So I'll share this video, I'll share this document with you again. I put something together just so you all could see it, and the full committee can see it as well. If we decided to bring Fred TV to another middle school or another building, we would have to post positions. Renee would be able to internally, equipment-wise, there'd probably be a little bit of a lift financially that we would have to do on the city side. But But the program's phenomenal. Just so you guys know, I'm a student of the program. That was where my roots started, and now I am at the helm of technology for the district. So we do raise, I mean, we have students all over the country working in media because of this program.
Right.
You kind of get, when you get to high school, you don't know what your niche is going to be. I was always a geek. That was my niche. And, you know, so we're building our capacity from within because we actually have students in Mike Ferreira and Alex Mello who were students and now are helping us run the district, who were instrumental during COVID. So this program is strong. Always room for improvement. I would love to see it fan out to other buildings, but that's something we would have to work together with the school committee and centrally to make happen.
Earlier the better.
Any questions?
No.
The only question, not a question, a comment, I've said it almost every meeting, that we need to expand this program into the other grades. It's more meaningful, like, hands-on stuff, like whether we have to expand it and then morph it into something else, like not only Fred TV, like what we talked in the past about the high school wanted to do it vocational, and then for whatever reason that didn't. I think we need to revisit all of that, but like you say, whatever that you said at Martin or ELT, this at ELT, like I think it needs to be embedded into instructions across the whole school system, at all schools, that it can't just be. And then when I see a lot of people that are on instructors, and to me that's not Fred TV. That's more the government channel, which people don't understand that there's a government channel piece to it. I understand a little bit of that because I've been around for a long time and understand that. But when you look at if you look at the percentage of non-instructors versus instructors, it pales in comparison. I think we need to start to look into the future, have some of those folks that are even not instructors per se, they can provide instruction and leadership and tutelage to,
Oh, they do, because
Trained
Jacob's
to-
doing it at
Yeah, they
Morton.
do.
So they do.
Alex
agree.
works
It
with
needs
the
to be
kids on
expanded.
a daily.
Yep.
So they're not instructors per se, but there are kids that like to go into the technical aspect that Alex does, the behind the scenes piece, and he takes them under their wings. So
Right, but
maybe it's
I think it's more formal. I think we need to.
Instructional.
Yeah.
Right, I
we
think-
need to, and I'd like to have.
Correct.
Yes.
That's going on.
Mr. Kochman, can you do me a favor and just come up here just so everybody on TV can see and hear you?
But I do think that Morton is a good example, right? So Jacob it's built into their schedule. So we have to figure out, because it would be a scheduling piece that other schools, like today, Talbot did their first, they have an after-school 21st century,
Right.
and they have a little program, a little grassroots little program, but they were so proud that they actually produced their first, they had the news, they had and
Yeah.
it's on.
And Pauline went over
thing,
there
exactly.
after school to work with them on that.
Right.
And, those programs are vital as feeder programs to the program at the high school. I think the students that have gone through the programs at Morton, have gone through the CUS program when it existed, and even the elementary school. We have summer camp that the elementary school kids go through. They wind up being Fred TV students in the long range.
It's very popular, so I would envision that it would be almost like another specialist class. You know how we have PE, art, music, we could have, whatever we call it, but it would be treated as such, right? In every middle school at minimum, start there and then filter down, because the Spencer Boarding kids, they look forward to that every year, and we need to expand that. But it would have to be treated as such in order to be incorporated. So whenever we say, can you run your schedule, you need specialists to run your schedule, like Jacob, he's doing it at Morton. That's one of the classes kids are
Right.
filtered into, and it sparks that interest, and it grows from there. So I do think that that's something that we need to expand into
The problem
our
too is that
schools.
I see it doesn't have to be a teacher,
Mhm.
like a licensed teacher. So we get
Right.
pigeonholed. I think sometimes in not paying somebody the right amount of money so that we can keep people, we train people, and we give them legitimate teaching jobs. But like Diamond has different certifications to teach than what we have. Like we need to, I think outside the box a little bit. Some people said when it's 21st century, you don't need it. Whatever it is, I think we need to just have, somebody might have the greatest skill set to do this work. They've done it, they've done all this, and they can't get a job because we're gonna say they need to have a teaching license or this or that. So I would like you to come back to the full committee with a Fred TV expansion program, both for like, how are we gonna expand and how are we gonna keep the people that we currently have, which we've done in those other areas, because we say the market is X, we need to the same thing applies to the teachers or the instructors, or even looking at after-school plans. So we have people that are gonna help out, but what are their hours? I would like to look at that and say, well, if we got somebody that can come in at 10 o'clock and they're gonna work every Wednesday for 2 hours at a school after school as part of our team, we don't have to come up with the additional resources, but like, do they all work the
Flex
right
time.
hours? Do they,
Right.
we don't necessarily see, and it's never fallen under a committee like this, that's why I think it's good that,
Okay.
so what do they do? What are their hours?
Okay.
We gotta know so we can support you, then people can, and if we have to do something with that wiring or whatever they, like, you know what I mean? In order to do that, if they say, hey, you know what, we'll do it, and we need to pay 100,000 and they pay 100,000, please come back to us.
Sure.
Because I think it looks foolish, like you said, when our channels are like less than Facebook Live, and then that becomes a problem.
Yep.
The other piece is live, when we have an event, I think we need to make our events live, not just on Facebook, on other channels. So I think it might help to do both.
Okay.
But if we're doing something and we want people to see it, why we just gotta go to Durfee to have it live? And I know it's a more complicated piece, but.
So we can go live at any of our locations now with Comrex. That was a piece that we had the foresight to bring into the district. We can actually go live anywhere in the city with Comrex.
Yeah, and as Scott said, we're negotiating with Comcast now through the mayor's office to upgrade those channels. That's been a tough issue. That's going to be the contract and the new license when it's signed. Hopefully that will be a part of it, because I agree with you. I mean, to watch Fred TV and GTV on cable TV,
Right.
I mean, it doesn't look good at all.
Right,
But
and
to
that's why
watch it on
turns to
Facebook,
Facebook,
I mean,
right.
that's what
Clear as
most
day.
people are doing now
Yeah.
because of that. And other communities, other towns are facing the same thing. It's not just us. I mean, you know, New Bedford's the same thing, you know, Westport's the same thing. But
We'll be the
that's
first.
that's a big
We'll be the
big ask
first.
from Comcast. You know,
No
they're
comparison.
they're kind of like stalling on wanting to do
Right.
that. But
Maybe if you, as, if you sent to the superintendent some information on what that would cost, and just give us an update, and if she can send it to us. I'm just curious to see what, when you say it's a big ask, what that means.
Mhm.
And I don't wanna say it out.
Yep.
over
Right,
the thing,
right.
sure.
I think we need to know what
We can
what
do
it
that.
takes, because it is not a good situation when people call or text and say, we can't hear this, that it looks terrible, the sound's terrible. like-
Right.
Well, it
I
makes
get
us
those
look
calls
bad.
too, I
Yeah.
get those
It makes us
emails and
look
texts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think you guys are doing a great job, but
Yeah.
at the same time, like, I don't have a good answer for anybody to say,
Mhm.
it should be better. Well,
Yeah.
let's get it better, that's what I would just say.
I just learned that today. I didn't know that was the issue. I mean, the quality. I always watch it online, so.
Right.
So thank you, if you can get us a plan, let's
Get you a
expand it. And the last item is new business. Is there any new business from earlier in the meeting?
Yes.
Ms. Larrabee?
I'd like to make a motion to hire an additional position to focus on tech installation.
Great, motion is made.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
I
Opposed, so voted. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the efficient meeting. You did the reports. This should be an example of how we should run a lot of other meetings, that when you're prepared, you come in, you run your reports, you give us the information, we're out of here in almost 50 minutes. And I appreciate you coming out at a late time and getting out of work and everything, so thank you all. Take a motion to adjourn.
motion to
Made by
adjourn.
Ms. Larrabee, second by Mr. Bailey, all in favor?
All right.
Opposed, so voted. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.